Hey, good Sunday morning, everybody. It is your buddy Choppadong, and I am coming at you with a NASCAR preview slash players picks video that I'm going to make in short time because I know that your time is valuable, and we're running out of time to get the triple header in today that is Pocono with Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup Series. I'm going to focus on Cup Series. I'm not an expert NASCAR player, but you know what the beauty of this is? I don't have to be. I have all the tools at my disposal here at DFSArmy.com, and I'm going to walk you through a few of them today to show you how easy this is to let people do the heavy lifting for you. It's like, what is it, Dale Carnegie or Napoleon Hill said, I don't need to be the expert in everything, I just need to know who is. Well, now that I know who is, I can be competitive myself in just a few minutes. So let's walk through from start to finish. The first thing that I would do is look at all of these tools at your disposal as a VIP at DFSArmy.com. It's absolutely mind-boggling, especially considering that you've got truck races, Xfinity races, and Cup Series races, and in some cases 2 Cup Series races this weekend like we have. We do the same thing for PGA with every showdown article as well as 4-day and tiers. We do a lot of the same thing with MMA, with NHL, MLB, NBA, all of it. Every sport is included under one VIP umbrella. There is no better value in all of daily fantasy sports than here at DFSArmy.com. And you also get the coaches that you can ask the questions to that will explain these tools for you. If you like the sport so much that you want to do a little digger deeping on your own, that's how this community works. And the bottom line is, we're going to win the war. It is a marathon, not a sprint. We're going to get better over time. We're going to start churning out ROI. We're going to produce winner after winner after winner. The only question is, are you going to be one of them? I would look at the articles first out of all of these tools. I would scan down. This is a podcast here. I would open up this article right here, and I would start following the process. Okay? It isn't about this being Pocono 1, which was yesterday. It's about the process. You come down through here and you get little snippets and little screenshots along the way of what we're looking at and what we're talking about, and then you can follow right on along in the NASCAR research station as we go, looking at the tracks tab, looking for average green flag run percentage to help us determine what studs are going to lead from the front and how to pick dominators and how many dominators this particular race might feature in terms of building an optimal lineup. Average pole laps led, average pole fast laps, etc., etc., etc. As you walk down, you start getting screenshots with DraftKings averages by starts. Auburn explains exactly what these numbers mean, exactly what you're looking at. Scroll down, you see more. And then we break down for FanDuel as well. And as you scroll down here, you start getting names. In the stud range, you can see the drivers to focus on: Blaney, Hamlin, Busch, and Elliott yesterday. Talk what you want to talk about, armchair quarterback. Those names were in great spots. And we come down to the mid-tier range and the value range, and everything else under the sun gives you an outstanding viewpoint of setting up your foundations of your lineups. You would then take these thoughts, write them down on a piece of paper towards the guys that you might want to see, and then you would head into maybe another article like the sway bar here, or like Calming the Chaos here, for a second opinion. You're going to read through here, you're going to get a different coach's thoughts. We're not all the same people. We don't look at things the same way. But you might pick up either a theme that is going to be common. If that's the case, each analyst that you read throughout the industry is probably going to point towards the same general things, and you can either agree to go with that or go in your own direction. However, you're going to see nuances between these coaches where this one favors one way, this one favors another way, and then you can decide which coach you want to follow more often or more consistently. And that's how you can set the lineup so you get second opinions, but you're still pretty much going with the traditional first opinion that you always form or coach that you follow. You're going to break down things again. Same names start popping up. You're going to see guys make all-in stands like yesterday on Keselowski. It didn't work, but had it worked, you got him at lower ownership compared to a lot of the other studs, and it would have set you up very, very nicely. Quick reads, easy reads. We've got deeper, thorough process articles. We've got quicker breakdowns of the specific slate when you look at those articles. The NASCAR research station is loaded with historical numbers from DraftKings, FanDuel, by start, finishes by position, dominator, point percentage, etc. All of these types of correlations and everything running through this machine that is going to help you build better lineups. Green is good, red is bad typically. You're looking for a bunch of green. That's why these guys are typically towards the top. You come down here and you see a little bit more hit and miss type of stuff because they're not consistent. That's why they're not priced up here with the studs. That stands to reason, but this particular tool will guide your research. Slate in, slate out. We have the NASCAR tool set up for Xfinity, for Cup, for trucks. We have cheat sheets for all of these. If I wanted to look at the cheat sheets because I'm running short on time, I've already picked up from one of the articles that we're going to run at most one dominator in these shorter races. And with the current setups on these tracks with the long straightaways and the tight turns, I know that we're going to be featuring more than, probably not more than one dominator. So I'm going to set up the domination station accordingly here in a minute. We've got Taco, Nilly J, and Larkin talking about the different websites, the different playing sites, if you will. Pardon me for rambling. But you're going to get a lot of 4- and 5-star confidence plays. You're going to see transmission issues. You're going to see notes, things that are going to put us on or off of certain players. And if you run mostly by this number, you're not going to be able to fit 5-star, 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 5-star. You're going to 5-star, 5. You're going to have to make some decisions on your own. If you pick up a dud, I'm sorry, it's going to be a bad race for you. But the key plays are typically on these sheets, and the reasons why can tip your mind towards these certain plays or these certain narratives that you might run into these different options as you're trying to build these lineups. You're going to build a cash lineup differently than you're going to build a tournament lineup. You're going to build a small tournament lineup differently than you're going to build a larger field tournament lineup. You're going to build single entry differently than you're going to build the mass multi-entry type of lineups. Those nuances within the actual game formats are what you're going to be reading in this column right here. Cash, GPP, should I fade the guy? Do I have leverage with the guy? Is he going to be chalky, etc.? And then you're also going to be able to bounce those ideas off of coaches. I'm trying to build a single entry lineup. How contrarian do I need to be? What's the size of the contest? How much risk can I take and still have a good shot at winning? Because it's easier to beat 100 people than it is 10,000 people. You need to be closer to the nuts to beat 10,000 people. So you're going to have to take those lower owned risks in those 10,000 person contests than you will in those 100 person contests. That's just a fact of life. If these concepts are new to you, you need the coaching and the explanation and the discussion to help get your mind set up to be competitive. Until then, you probably are giving away edge to the rest of the field and the rest of the industry, and theoretically, you're a little bit of dead money entering these contests. Get the education first, then put these tools to use for you. It's just that simple. If I ran down here with Nilly, you're going to see a little bit more thorough notes with some of these guys than others. Some guys are focused on our projections, and they don't have the time to really put in the notes, but their knowledge in their brain is incredible. Other guys have more time to explain their notes. I'm looking here at Logano, Harvick, Hamlin, etc. These are the types of guys that I might be focused on. These are sort of the core builds that I'm going to start my foundation with. So Logano, Harvick, Hamlin, Truex, Elliott, these are guys that I might decide to put into my lineups. Kyle Busch, Keselowski, Blaney are the dominators that we might be focused on. So if I just took those alone, went into my domination station on FanDuel, set up my NASCAR slate, wanted to build, say, 50 lineups, now's when the nuance starts coming in. I can start controlling who's going to be in my lineups and who's not. Because NASCAR can wipe me out with wrecks, I might do about 20% randomization, put it in tournament mode to shuffle things up a little bit better. Basically, tournament mode means that if I ran 50 lineups and I wanted, say, 30 lineups of Kyle Busch, I'm not going to get him in the first 30 and then not in the next 20 lineups. Instead, it's going to shuffle him around a little bit and put him in some of those top lineups and some of those bottom lineups so that I get better combinations of people using those drivers. I'm not all in on optimal stuff up top and then really crappy down low. I get a broader mix, a more balanced mix as I go. That's what that feature's for. In NASCAR, it can be wide open, running 3 and 4 uniques. You can keep it down to just a couple of uniques. I might just run 2 unique players today and keep a tighter core going, because what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to cut off some of these dominators here to make sure we understand. Kyle, Keselowski, and Blaney. So if I did Kyle, Keselowski, and Blaney, I'm going to leave Harvick as a dominator, but Kyle, let's cut Hamlin off as one. Let's cut Truex off as one. Now this is me customizing the machine my own way. Blaney was listed, Keselowski was listed, and now I'm going to cut down all these other guys. Yes, they could be true dominators, but I'm going to want these guys to mix into my lineups. When I set my rule to incorporate at least one, or I guess at most one of these guys. I don't mind if Ryan Preece shows up in some of my lineups. I don't want him to be cut out just because I said only one dominator. I don't want 10 or 12 dominators in my particular lineups. I just want these three guys. And what I'm going to do with a Bush is put him in 30% of my lineups. I'm going to come down here and put Blaney in about 25% of my lineups. And I'm going to put Keselowski in about 25% of my lineups. From here, that's going to give me at least a mix of these three guys. It's going to force a mix of one of these three guys, and the other two won't show up, most likely. I'm going to put a cap on these guys at about 55% across the board. That's going to mix all of the other guys in. Now, when I go through the cheat sheets, I might start popping the projections a little bit towards guys that I like. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set a stacking option rule. At most, one dominator. Done. Now I'm only going to get one Harvick, one Bush. Oops, I need to put Harvick in a little bit of this too. So if we put him in 20%, 20, 30, 50, and then 50. So we're set up. That's an even balanced structure. I should get about that average among those four guys. But I'm going to get one Harvick and then a bunch of different guys. One Bush, a bunch of different guys. One Blaney, a bunch of different guys. Right? I'm not going to get Harvick and Bush in the same lineup now. And I can include that with any of these other. If I wanted to put Truex in there, I could put Truex in there and adjust my minimum exposures. This is just how I do it. It's not how a lot of other coaches will tell you to do it. It's just how I do it. And remember, I'm not a professional NASCAR player. I'm just out here having fun with some nickels and dimes. But using these tools, learning these tools, and applying these tools helps me grow as a player. If I want to get serious, I can go into our forums and ask those coaches what they're doing, and I can more mimic their decision. But I'm going to want to do that when I have the time to get into a discussion with them and have them explain to me why I'm doing it. If I don't have the time to have them explain to me why I'm doing it, then there's no sense in starting the conversation to begin with. But eventually, if I like NASCAR enough, I would do that. So if you're new to NASCAR, that may be something that you do. Like I said, today I'm just showing you this for the purposes of the video and sort of some of the options that you have with you. So when I come down here into the cheat sheet again and I see Logano, Harvick, Logano, Hamlin, Truex, Elliott. All right, I can handle that. Logano. There was Hamlin, Truex, Elliott, Logano. So I boost their projections. They're not dominators on my list. They're going to show up in a lot of my lineups, though, because they were core plays, right? Scroll down here, maybe find some value plays. Studs and values, Eric Jones again, Tyler Reddick again, Bowman, Almirola, Clint Boyer, whatever. If you want to run some of these guys in here, go for it. Value, Bubba Wallace, Ty Dillon, McDowell, etc., etc., etc. That would be up to you to go through here. I may look down Taco's cheat sheet too and get some ideas here for some of these more value type of plays. I'm looking for guys that see these fades. Brendan Poole on down. I may take these guys and literally uncheck them from the domination station. If I come down here and I started unchecking these guys, they won't even show up in any of my lineups. That would be a very smart thing to do. But for the sake of this video, I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to take the 50 lineups and I'm just going to run them. I've got 20% randomization, 2 unique players, and 1 dominator set up for each lineup. No more than a 50% exposure on any given driver. And now I'm going to come down here and I'm just going to let the projections do the work for me. I bumped up those core plays. And as this builds, we're going to see what happens. We're going to see where our highest exposure is. Logano at 52%. Almirola, Elliott, Truex. There's Kyle Busch at 30% as my dominator. Eric Jones, Ham. But you're going to notice that some of these lineups are different. So you got Nemechek, Almirola, Jones, Elliott, Logano. And then here you've got McDowell, Almirola again, Jones again, Harvick, Logano again. So this has 2 different players in it than this one. And as you scroll down, you're going to keep finding these lineups evolve. LaJoie, Nemechek, Busch, Hamlin, Logano. 2 unique players in that one. So as these things start filling out, what we're supposed to be finding is some potential for some unique lineups. And you can look through here at projected ownership percentages too. If you wanted to see that Almirola is that highly exposed, instead of 54%, I'm a little underweight the field. If I wanted to be even more underweight the field, I would do something like that, and I would rerun the machine. If you're into dodging the chalk, you would do the same thing with an Eric Jones. You would cut him back a good bit, and you'd get well under the field. If you like Michael McDowell, you would jump him up. See, he's already at 26%, double the field of the projected ownership in my own. Denny Hamlin at 41%. If I didn't want to see him, I'm underweight here. I could go all in on the guy and be 100% on him. There are different ways to use these ownership projections in terms of do you want more or less of these guys. And there are leverage points and inflection points that you can incorporate in your lineups if you ask the coaches how to do it. That's one way to take down tournaments with multiple lineups where you can formulate a tight core of players that if they succeed, all of your lineups are set to do well, and a couple of those lineups might be very close to the nuts. That's how a lot of guys make a lot of money. But in the meantime, since I've set this up just in a broad run, a broad scale, I download these lineups here into a CSV file and I go take them and dump them into FanDuel, and I'm up and running. And this was 15 minutes of me talking and showing you the article and skimming the research station. Imagine the amount of time that you could save on your own research by doing this for yourself. You could play trucks this morning. It's already gone, but you could play trucks. You could play Xfinity this afternoon. You could play Cup Series again, and then you could run off and play next weekend. You could play golf. You could play MMA. You could play League of Legends. You could play all of these contests. You don't need to be an expert in any of them anymore because you now have the power of all of our tools. That's how our members are putting their Army hats up on leaderboards constantly. They're letting us do the heavy lifting for them as their content provider. They're putting their own little nuances once they've learned the game and learned the formats and what they're trying to do to win certain contests. They put their own little twists on there and they start popping big money. You can do the exact same thing too if you're ready to take your game to the next level. You use the coupon code CHOP, CHOP. You get in here to dfsarmy.com, you become a VIP, and you start asking questions. Every one of us would be more than willing to help you become a better player starting today. Don't wait. Like, subscribe to the video, hit the notifications button so you get more of these as they drop, and we'll be back next week with more of this for probably each and every sport as I walk you through these tools and show you how to set up the optimizer in a very, very basic way, and then you, for the amount of time that you have to put in the game, can take it as deep as you want to take it. I hope to see you on the leaderboards. I hope to see you winning a lot of money because that's what this thing is all about. More importantly, I hope to see you asking questions inside our community because that's where you're truly going to get better. Take care, everybody. Have a good Sunday and a good weekend, and we'll talk to you very soon.